Hey, it's Kevin. Thank you so much for coming by for the No BS social media chat. We're not actually talking about playgrounds per se, but we are talking about some of the social media sites and, well, having to deal with their rules and regulations. Just recently, Instagram changed their API. They changed the way that other clients were involved. So if you wanted to use a repost app to repost some of your favorite pictures and give the person credit, well, you can't do it just as easy as you could do it before. I also used to have my Instagram set up to where if a friend of mine would post a picture, I wanted to make sure I saw it. So I basically had it send me a text message. And I set it up through the If app, the If This Then That app. And on June 1st, they informed us that those were no longer available. You just can't do that. Now, was I upset? Yeah, I was bummed, but I wasn't shocked and I wasn't surprised because that's how all social media sites work. Again, you're playing on their playground. You don't pay for these privileges, so you really have no say. You can get upset. It's happened for years with Facebook. It used to happen with MySpace when they changed their rules and regulations. You'd get upset, but what is your recourse? You don't pay anything for the privilege of being on those sites. They're there to make money. They're there to keep you, I don't want to say harnessed into their ecosphere, into their system, but that's their goal. Instagram doesn't want you doing anything outside of Instagram. Facebook doesn't want you doing anything outside of Facebook. Now, those two play together because Facebook owns Instagram. But Twitter's making it tougher to do things with outside clients. And YouTube is a whole nother story. As I tell people, and we'll talk about this next week, if you just set up a YouTube page and get working, and you want to make some changes down the road, it's not always easy. And depending upon how long you've been on YouTube, if you set up a YouTube page before 2009, it's even tougher because that's before Google took over YouTube, before they bought them. So as much as you want to be upset, as much as it just made your life or your marketing or your branding more difficult, you just have to roll with the changes sometime and just accept it and hope that there are going to be smarter people out there that are going to figure ways around it. The repost app I like to use on Instagram because I like the look of it, because I like to repost pictures of some of my artists and clients and friends and things like that, but I also like to make sure to give them credit. Sure, there are people who repost my pictures all the time, and they may give me credit, in a comment or something like that, but I want people to see it on the image. I want people to not necessarily steal my images, because I've actually had a lot of people steal some of my images on Instagram and repost them and just say they're their own. And you know what? I don't care. They're not getting any views. They're not getting any hits, and it doesn't matter to me. Sure, is it frustrating? Yeah, absolutely. When people have their personal content stolen, it's upsetting. But it kind of comes with the territory. You know what you're walking into. So I like to make sure to properly credit people. But again, because they changed the way all of those repost and regram apps work, it's not the same. Now, does it take 10 steps instead of 3? Sure. Is it that much longer of a time? No. Is it going to stop me from doing it? Well, no, because it's important to me to share the images, to share the good images, to help promote the clients I work with. It's just kind of what I do, so I think it's important to be able to do that. Same thing with Facebook. Man, the Facebook changes constantly. And it's everything now. I just read the other day where they're actually starting to roll out changes to what the business pages, if you will, look like. So, if you have a page and not a profile per se, if you're using it for a business, the look of the page is going to change. Okay, whoopee. Does it really matter? Well, it's going to matter if the graphic sizes change because, Facebook has a template for their graphics, what work with them. Twitter has a template for what works with them. Of course, with Instagram, if you want the best looking one, it's got to be square instead of rectangular. And so you have to create sometimes 3 images, and that's what I've done. I try to come as close to some certain templates as possible, and I build into them. But at the end of the day, you got to create 3 graphical images for any of those sites. And then we're not even talking the profile pictures. Each and every one of those sites, if you want to use the header picture, the profile picture, if you will, all have different tools and templates and size frames and things like that. And that's just the way of life. Would you love them all to play together? Would you love to be able to just use one thing everywhere around? Absolutely. Is it ever going to happen? Not in your wildest dreams. That's kind of how the internet works, where if you're in their playground, you got to play by their rules. And if you don't like it, well, as the old playground joke goes, you can take your ball and go home. There's nothing you can do about it. You can complain, you can whine, and maybe sometimes you can affect a change. But you got to have a whole lot of other people upset about it, and you got to have them see where they're going to lose people on their site, where people are going to walk away. And I think if you look back at MySpace and see that MySpace turned their nose up at people for way too long, and then finally the bubble burst, Facebook came on and lulled you into their world, and then they started making changes. It's a fact of life when it comes to social media. But you at least need to understand it, try to accept it, and more importantly, find ways around it if at all possible. It takes a little work, takes a little effort. If you need to reach out, hey, reach out, let me know what you're dealing with. You'd be surprised how many of those same things I have to do on a daily basis for me and my clients. It's just a fact of social media life. Back next week. That's another fact of life with another No BS social media chat. NoBSSocial.com is our main website where all the videos are housed. Of course, you can find us too on my websites, and I really don't talk about my website, Kevin Mason Music Marketing, which is kevinmasonmusic.com, or intensitymedia.com, which is our social media company. Of course, I don't ever care if you come and look at those sites. Would love for you to work with me, but you know what? It's real simple. At the end of this video, my phone number, my email, easiest way to get a hold of me. Let's talk. See you next week. Another No BS social media chat. Thanks.